Chicopee, Massachusetts, at the Maple Grove Cemetery off of Auburn Street and Grape Street. And this is a cemetery that was started to serve the people that were in Chicopee Center area. They had just made a canal in 1832 in Chicopee Center. And this cemetery was made in 1836. It became the town and then the city cemetery. And it's a beautiful cemetery. They call Maple because the maple trees are all around it, okay? And some of them are dying off, which is not great. But about half a century ago, they did a refurbishment of the cemetery. But the sad thing is, too many of the stones are up on higher ground. It's a trend in this cemetery to try to place them up. And when that happens, the soil shifts downwards and outwards gradually through the years, and that's causing the stones through solid fluxion to then want to fall over. And that's why even when they've been fixed only half a century ago, they're trying to fall over again. So there's going to have to be another renovation or improvement to the cemetery. So I'm going to show you different sections, and the different sections are, towards here you have schools. There's actually 3 schools surrounding this cemetery. And the 3 schools, the Valentine School, for instance, the one you're looking at, the Robinson School, the Grape Street School, the 2 of those have been made in the apartment complex and home. So this is really the center of the action for Chicopee. It's very close to downtown or to City Hall. Now, the Ames brothers came to Chicopee and they took over a lot of things. Okay. Now, this cemetery is a very beautiful cemetery. You can see a lot of nice stones. And what we're going to do is try to point out in this introductory video some of the sections you can go to. And if you use my webpage, there's a map, there's description of different sections of the most interesting burials of all. In fact, we're pointing out a burial that in the distance, 2 trees away, where one of the stones is in the process of being engulfed by the tree. Now, we're going to point towards downhill, and down here at the very end, that's where the town burials were, which means that those were the burials that people could not afford to get buried. The town had to pay for the burial. They got their own coffin and plot, but no stone and no mass. Now, if you're down there, you're going to see that it's very empty, and I tried to count up as best I could how many burials are down there, and I came up about 1,000. And you say that, oh, it's not big enough for 1,000 if you go down there. But if you remember this fact that more than half of those burials are children, then you understand that it can fit in very easily. Now, in this section right here, there's a shaded part over there with one of the maple trees in front of it, but it's the largest stone in the cemetery. That is the plot at which John Chase is buried with his family and his wife, his kids, and his brother. John Chase was the person that built the Chicopee Center canal and got a lot of the mills going. He also built the Holyoke Canal and got a lot of its mills going. So he's extremely important for the history of Hampden County. He got Chicopee and Holyoke industrialized. If it weren't for him and his great works, it probably would not have been a success. All right, now what we're going to do is I'm going to describe one more burial, but then we're going to have a 360 to sweep around the cemetery with the camera so you can see how beautiful it is around here. Now there's one mystery plot, and that's a person named Leroy. I think he was a young person because the plot's small, but it's surrounded by a fence, iron rod fence. And that was usually only done to thwart grave robbers. And there was hardly any grave robbers around here because there was no medical schools. The nearest medical schools were about an hour away. And so I don't understand why this Leroy had his grave surrounded. I've not been able to find his death record or anyone with that last name or first name in Springfield or Chicopee. And it's hard to determine off of his stone what's going on. His name is printed on the stone 4 times. Very strange. And I'd love to solve that mystery someday. But if you go down there, you can see how close the iron rod fence is to a stone. Now we're going to do a 360 around the whole cemetery.